Greetings, watch lovers, and welcome to Watches in the Wild. Today we are going to talk about luxury watch prices, which frankly are quite ridiculous, especially if you're considering watches like this one. Let's be honest for a second. Today's luxury watch prices are so far beyond the pale that most people need to be indoctrinated into the hobby first. I'm just going to guess that you didn't buy your first quote-unquote good watch before having read through tons of blog posts and forums online and having watched hours upon hours of YouTube videos like this one. In other words, you needed to be convinced that spending hundreds, possibly even thousands on a watch is actually a good use of your money. And no wonder you needed to be convinced of that. Seen from a distance, it is hard to figure out why most luxury watches command the prices that they do. And let's not kid ourselves. Any watch costing in excess of, say, $50 is a luxury watch. It's just awfully hard to see why a freehander in a pedestrian metal should ever go for more than a couple $100. Trying to justify price tags closer to 10,000 Swiss francs must seem like an exercise in madness to most people, for the simple reason that it actually is fantastically unreasonable. The watch I'm wearing today could be considered an antidote to our collective madness. It demonstrates that very little can buy you very much indeed. Sure, 100 Swiss francs won't get you Rolex quality, but they'll get you an attractive, reliable, mechanical watch. For less than 2% of the price of a Rolex, you will enjoy at least 20% of its quality, maybe 50% if you look at it from an arm's length away. The Emperor, Rolex, might not be naked, but the few garments he is wearing shouldn't make us kneel down before him. After all, that shiny yellow crown on top of his head might just be a figment of our imagination. In one aspect, buying an Orient Bambino actually gives you more than owning a timepiece with a prestigious brand name attached to it. Wearing an Orient, especially in Switzerland, sends all the right signals to all the right people. It signals to other watch enthusiasts that you decided to forego all the obvious choices in favor of a true value proposition, that you actively sought it out. After all, there are no Orient boutiques in Switzerland. And most of all, it counter-signals the mere display of wealth, which is so often associated with luxury timepieces. Not saying that flexing is bad. There might be no Swiss watch industry without it, but it isn't necessarily expressing one's love for horology. So, what do you get for your 100 or so bucks? Amazingly, you are getting all the basics and then some, not just a boiled down bare-bone watch. For starters, it comes equipped with a mechanical movement. Yes, you don't have to spend a fortune if you are into watches with a heartbeat. Losing around 30 seconds per day, it is rather inaccurate, but features a self-winding rotor and hacking seconds on top of it, allowing you to quickly and comfortably set the watch. Oh, and it boasts perhaps the most useful complication of all, a date whose size is somewhat diminutive, but hey, it is there and it even has a little frame around it. There's more. Its dial is adorned with Roman numerals, a watchmaker's four among them, which are applied rather than stamped. No doubt it would have been cheaper stamping them, and at this price point nobody could complain about it. Nevertheless, Orient went the proverbial extra mile and noticeably upped the dial quality. I also applaud the shape of the dial, which isn't flat but slightly domed. It bends down rather sharply at the edges and could have benefited from a more gradual and gentle slope. Nevertheless, it provides another welcome extra which adds some visual interest to the dial. If I had to nitpick one thing, it would be the chemically blued hands. They make for a stark contrast with the off-white dial, too stark for my taste. The color doesn't seem to harmonize with the rest of the design and feels like a little bit of an afterthought. But is that a major thing? Not really, especially since there are other dial colors on offer for this watch. Last but not least, I'm a fan of the thinness of the case. It is very svelte indeed, just what you would expect from a dress watch. Proportions aren't easy to get right. I'm looking at you, Grand Seiko. The relative thickness of the mineral crystal doesn't bother me. It provides a cool distortion effect and barely adds anything to the perceived height of the watch. So where does that leave us? Does the Orient provide you with an out-of-this-world luxury experience? Does it come close to something like a Rolex? Not quite. But is it a watch that can give you a taste of that experience? You bet! And you can have that without breaking the bank or, God forbid, selling your kidney. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment and consider subscribing if you want to encourage me to make more videos. I'll probably make them anyway, but your support would mean a lot. Thank you and goodbye.